Do you have a study routine to learn Spanish verbs? If you don't, then this video is going to be very beneficial for you because I am sharing a very fun, intensive, and effective study routine that you can complete in 45 minutes. When I say learn Spanish verbs, I'm not talking about just knowing the definition of Spanish verbs, but I'm talking about knowing them at a deeper level. So being able to hear them when a Spanish speaker is talking with you and being able to use them correctly in a sentence, and then also when you are speaking, and then also being able to read them while you are reading a book or a news article or a magazine in Spanish. Targeting the 4 main language skills is going to give us a lot of output and input for this study routine, and this is exactly what you need as a Spanish learner. So to do this study routine, some things that we need are a notebook, a pencil or pen, and then also a Spanish verb book. We're going to need a Spanish dictionary, a Spanish grammar book, and some form of like a Spanish book like I have here, Corazón Tan Blanco. If you're interested in getting those resources, I have them linked below in the description box of this video. And you'll also need a computer, a phone, or a TV. Now for the first 5 minutes of our Spanish verb routine, what I want you to do is practice the Spanish alphabet. And what does the alphabet have to do with Spanish verbs? Well, it has everything to do with Spanish verbs because without the alphabet, we're not going to be able to spell them. We're not going to be able to hear them. So right now, I have a picture of the Spanish alphabet on my computer. But one thing that I recommend you doing is putting all the letters of the alphabet on a notebook or something like that, so you don't have to keep going to your laptop. So what we're gonna do right now is just go through the Spanish alphabet from A to Z, and we're going to pronounce it out loud. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, Ñ, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U. Oh, I think I messed up the ere a little bit. Ere. For that reason, we're doing this out loud. So if we make a mistake, we can correct ourselves. R, S, T, U, B, W, X, Y, Z. So what you can do right now is repeat the same process for the full 5 minutes, or if not, you can dedicate those other minutes to other parts of our study routine. So just right there, we were able to do a little bit of input and output. So we were reading the Spanish alphabet, and then we were also speaking them out. Now, the next thing that we're gonna be doing in our Spanish verb study routine is reading for 15 minutes. I'm gonna be reading this Spanish novel, Corazón Tan Blanco, but you can read a news article or a magazine, whichever you like. Don't forget that you can always practice your Spanish speaking skills by reading aloud. And while you are reading, what I want you to really do is focus on the different Spanish verbs that you are seeing, and then try to pronounce them correctly. Also, try to figure out what these Spanish verbs mean in context. If you can't figure out the meaning of one of the verbs that you're reading, what you can do is try to look it up in this Spanish verb book here or the Spanish dictionary. And I don't recommend that you look up every single verb that you come across that you don't know the meaning of, but what you can do is write down some of these verbs on a sheet of paper, or you can also write them down on some flashcards, and then you can review them later. Debía esperar en mi compañía a que se cumpliera la visita de su padre al mío, que se acercaba al balcón y me daba la espalda durante 15 y 20 minutos y media hora haciendo caso omiso de los juegos variados que ingenuamente yo le proponía, pero a pesar de su inmovilidad no había contemplación ni sosiego en su figura erguida, ni en sus manos huesudas, que tras apartar los vicios se encerraban. A ellos como el cautivo aún reciente se acostumbra al tacto de los barrotes porque no les da crédito todavía. Yo jugaba a sus espaldas procurando no llamar a su atención demasiado, intimidado en mi propio cuarto, sin apenas mirar su nuca rápida, menos aún sus ojos de hombre que
estudiaba el exterior y ansiaban ver y actuar libremente.
Now we just finished 20 minutes of our Spanish verb routine with reading. So now I hope you really see the importance of practicing the Spanish alphabet right at the beginning. That prepared us for the reading portion of our Spanish verb routine. And I hope that you are actually able to work on practicing saying these different verbs and all their different conjugations as well. And one big reason why I have us reading for 15 minutes is so we can get a lot of exposure to these Spanish verbs. So the more times that we see them, the more likely it is for us to remember what they are, how to spell them, and how to use them in context. And don't think that you have to be in love with reading in Spanish to be able to do this part of our study routine effectively. But mostly just focus on our goal. We want to be able to have a deeper knowledge of Spanish verbs, and you will let that desire and let that goal be your motivator, and this will help you have a good time and stay focused during this study routine. Now the next part of the Spanish verb routine is to write for 10 minutes. Now you can do a couple of different things. You could just write a summary of what you just read and try to use as many verbs as possible that you were just reading. Or what you can do is create your own story and make sure that you use a lot of different verbs as well, and then also use a lot of different tenses. Another thing that you can do is write out a list of Spanish verbs on your notebook that you would like to focus on. Then what you do with this list is just write out the verb in a sentence and then just try to use different verb tenses. Now we're writing right after we just read because we have all these different words that we just read fresh in our minds. So if you think about it right now, you could probably remember some of the Spanish verbs that you were just reading. And that is what we're trying to do right now, is try to get all that out of your head and onto paper. I just finished writing and it was pretty fun. Now let me know in the comment section below which method did you use for this particular portion of our Spanish verb routine. I personally just did like a little diary. So I just wrote about some different things that happened throughout today. And I tried to include as many verbs as I could remember from what I just read, but honestly, I won't even lie, it was quite difficult, but that is the whole point of this. So at first, it may be very difficult to remember what we just read, but the more consistent that we are with reading and then also with writing, that process is going to become a lot easier because we're getting a lot of repetition. We're seeing the same verbs over and over again, and then we're also thinking about them after the fact. We're not just forgetting about them, but we are writing them out, for example, in this case. So I'm thinking about, okay, what did I just read? And that is really going to help you retain a lot of information that you are consuming. Another tip for you while you are writing in Spanish is to say out loud what you are writing. And this is also going to help you with remembering everything that you just read, but then also increasing your Spanish fluency. Now, for the last part of our Spanish verb study routine, what we're going to do is watch a movie or watch a portion of an episode of a Spanish TV show for 15 minutes. Everything that we have done to get up to this point has been good preparation, so getting a lot of good exposure to Spanish verbs, using them, speaking them out loud, and then also trying to understand how they are used in context. So now we have more understanding of sentence structure, and this is really going to help us for trying to increase our listening comprehension and then trying to distinguish when a Spanish speaker is saying a Spanish verb, but then also what conjugation are they actually using.
Tú conoces a Kenia de hace mucho tiempo, ¿verdad? Ujú. Y de pura casualidad sabes si en el pasado le pasó algo, no sé, grave. Grave. Grave ¿cómo?
¿Buscas la verdad? ¿Que buscas la justicia? ¿No? ¿No te parece que los que deberían sentirlo son los asesinos y la gente que los protege, no tú?
No. Espérame, me estás comparando porque no necesito que me compares. ¿Sí? Esto no es cuestión de si estoy haciendo una cosa más noble que lo que ellos hacen, ¿sí? ¿Tú crees que entre ellos había algo más?
¿Había algo más?
Es decir, algo que fuera de lo profesional.
Fuera de la profesional.
No sé.
No sé.
El licenciado tiene familia.
El licenciado
La
tiene
verdad,
familia.
no
Y
creo.
la verdad, no creo.
Entiendo.
Entiendo.
Juana, ¿ya comiste?
Okay, mis amigos, when you are watching your TV show or your movie in Spanish, what I want you to do is make sure that you have your notebook and your pencil in front of you and ready to write down some Spanish verbs, because you are not going to just watch this very passively and not pay attention, but this is supposed to be a very intensive Spanish verb study routine. So what we're going to be doing is listening for different Spanish verbs, but not just the verb itself like the infinitive form, but also for different verb conjugations. And what this is going to do is really help you focus on what that Spanish speaker is saying while improving your listening comprehension skills. Let's say that you were able to identify one Spanish verb that this Spanish speaker just said, but you don't know what the meaning is or what they're trying to say in that particular sentence. So don't forget that we have these different Spanish learning resources that will help you figure that out. It only takes a few seconds to search up a particular verb that you are looking for. Just like that, you have finished your Spanish verb study routine. But now what you can do is really get creative with this routine and try to change it up a bit. Instead of reading a Spanish novel like I was just doing, you can read a news article. Or instead of watching a TV show like I was just doing, you can watch a part of a movie. And the same thing applies to the writing portion, so use the different methods that I mentioned. In the case you don't have 45 minutes to spare to actually do this study routine, what you can do is just reduce the amount of time for each portion of the study routine. But I still want you to work on every single part because they are very important to do together. If you really enjoyed this Spanish verb study routine, make sure that you share this video with your language learning friends. If you find value in the other videos that I make, you can support my channel by donating to my Buy Me a Coffee page, and the link is in the description box of this video. Thank you very much for watching this video. Me llamo Josué, esto es Spanish Blueprints y nos vemos en el próximo video.